My name is Carlos Simon. I'm a composer and I live in Ann Arbor, Michigan. For the past 3 years, I've been working on my doctorate at the University of Michigan in composition. I was born in Washington, D.C., but I was raised in Atlanta, Georgia. My dad, being a preacher, he decided to move to Atlanta to begin a church, start a new ministry in Atlanta when I was very young. And that's where I really began to learn music and to play piano and organ. And that's where I really began to compose music for the church and the choirs. Before I start writing, I usually try to live with the story or the concept for a while and get an understanding of the emotional and the dramatic arc of whatever I'm writing about, and just really immerse myself in everything before I even write a note. So I have a clear understanding of what I should convey through the music. The concept of Portrait of a Queen has been part of my life for a very long time. For the past couple years, I've been really taking a look at the structure of the African-American community and how things operate in this American society. And I've really found that women have been pillars in the community. In this piece, I wanted to trace that lineage of women who have been caregivers, who have been just vital to the African American community, and trace that from Africa through slavery and through Jim Crow. So this piece is really a journey, a musical journey. I wanted to use music that represents different eras and different time periods. So the piece begins with the orchestra kind of transforming into a West African drum ensemble, using the orchestra to represent this very exciting and playful and joyful energy that the West African drumming represents. You know, I wanted to also use the orchestra to represent the Queen's regalness and her majestic and courageous nature. So the second movement is somber and it's sad as we take the journey across the Atlantic Ocean, and the Queen is now degraded from this high position to a slave. And I wanted to use the orchestra to represent her feelings of being not even a citizen, but not even a human. And I wanted to show the disgust and the anguish that she would have felt being torn and taken away from her family, from her children. It's very emotional in nature. It was very emotional for me to write this movement, but it transforms in the third movement to something more aggressive and very tumultuous as we move to a time in history, in American history, where the country was going through civil unrest. This time is the civil rights movement. So I used this Negro spiritual, or the protest song, Don't You Let Nobody Turn You Around, which was a very popular protest song during the civil rights era. I used that theme undergirded with very aggressive and heavy rhythms and energy to really represent this very tumultuous time in our history. Finally, the piece concludes reflectively with a quotation of a favorite hymn of my mom and my grandmother, "Great is thy faithfulness." It's really meant to give an idea of how the Queen is represented, in my view, in churches today. You know, she is this strong pillar that we would have seen in Africa, and she's now transformed to this church queen, if you will. I just wanted to tell the story musically and in a way that people can understand it and feel it. It was really helpful for me to learn about the different things that my mom and my grandmother and grandparents went through